We always stay on top of the very important conversation about parents' rights and free speech in America. Joining us now, actress, author, education freedom advocate, and good friend. She helped form the Parents Demanding Justice Alliance, and she's also here with one of the group's co-founders, Kelly Walker. It's Sam Sorbo and Kelly Walker. Sam, Kelly, great to have you here today.
Great to be here.
I think people feel like the tide is turning, that parents are starting to get control back of their children's education, but there are still these pockets of resistance. Sam, I know you started this group to make sure those pockets of resistance go away. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't know that we should be that optimistic because really nothing fundamentally has changed. Right. People feel better, but people like Kelly are still suffering because they were targeted and they were disenfranchised and they were separated from their kids, some of them. And so that needs to be redressed and fixed so that parents don't have to worry about this happening again.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah,
great
and Kelly,
point.
fill people in on what happened to you. You now live in Tennessee, but your life, everything, your profession was in Arizona.
We do. In 2018, my family opened a small coffee shop in Vail, Arizona, just outside of Tucson. And of course, shortly after that, we had the lockdowns. We took a very freedom-based approach. I was working as editor-in-chief for a national medical publication at that time. And so we wanted to give people the free choice. We never missed, we never failed an inspection. And yet the County Board of Supervisors framed us as if we were non-compliant. So we ended up on this wall of shame website, and we started getting death threats, threats to kill my children. That was in 2020, if you can believe it. And I went to a Board of Supervisors meeting. I was invited. You get 3 minutes to speak. Within 30 seconds, I was handcuffed and charged for disorderly conduct for speaking.
And can I point out, the meetings before that were online. They were virtual.
Yeah.
That meeting was in person. Every meeting after that was also virtual. It was a setup. They wanted to have a video of him being arrested for nothing but speaking as a tactic of intimidation. And so this is why I say it's bigger than, oh, you know, bygones, let's move on, because those tactics are still in place. And that attitude, that Terry McAuliffe attitude, that parents have no rights or responsibility regarding the education of their children is wrong. It's dead wrong, because the number one predictor of academic success for a child is parental involvement.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Kelly, you used a fantastic term when we were talking offline here. You feel like a political refugee. You literally had to flee your home to find safety for you and your children. What is that like?
And by the way, that was the first of 2 arrests, because after that arrest, which was televised, our coffee shop became this hub of freedom. So all of the medical, law enforcement, military who didn't want to be forced to take a vaccination, various issues, they came to our shop. We became like the town hall, or almost like the Green Dragon Tavern, right? And the school issue started coming, and people were coming to us saying, look, these policies that the school districts are being paid by the CDC to enforce, they are leading kids to suicide and mental health issues. Meanwhile, before I got politically let go of in my job, I was writing about this, how kids did not have access to doctors and dentists and teachers now. They had nowhere to go. A young man in our neighborhood went out in the desert and shot himself in the head. And he told the police, I'm never going back. Well, it turns out he was living in an abusive situation. He had nowhere to go. He couldn't get away at school, so he fled out in the desert. And it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. So again, I was arrested in 2021, September 2021, only days short of a year later. And it was for sitting in a school office meeting, because by this time, you know, people looked at me, I'd become this public figure. And he said, Kelly, they forced my son to wear a mask. He's in the office. He took it off, said, we don't wear masks, and threw it in the nurse's trash. They made him fish it out of the trash and put it back on. Wow. He said, I'm calling the police. I'm reporting child abuse. So he said, would you come, please? Keep me calm. So I called another father, and we went there. And because we sat in that meeting, because I called then State Senator Kelly Townsend as sheriff's lieutenant to get advice for this dad, they went out to the media after that. And by the way, this father called the police, and they said, no, we're not coming out, as too controversial.
On a call for child abuse.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I got, 3 days later, the police hunted us down. 5 Tucson police officers came to my house at night and delivered a paper ticket for misdemeanor 3 trespassing.
Took 5 cops to deliver a ticket.
Oh, yes, and then they had 14
force.
Tucson police officers investigating. The FBI was investigating it. The media took off with it, CNN, MSNBC, as if 3 large men had stormed a school. And we have every second of film.
That's
you
right.
can see clearly none of what they said happened.
So have you been made whole?
No, no.
That's what we're here for.
I know it's an
That's
ironic question.
No,
Nowhere near.
We're struggling. I mean, like I said, I got cancel culture out of my job. Our business was ruined. They took $10,000 out of our home sale illegally. They sentenced me to 100 days in jail. And I know this is unorthodox, but I refused to go. And I refused to appeal because it would have ruined my family. And I looked to Samuel Adams and John Hancock as an example because Governor Gage put out a warrant for their arrest, and Samuel Adams' response was, I've already long ago made my peace with the King of Kings. Tell Governor Gage it is the advice of Samuel Adams to no longer offend the feelings of an exasperated people. And I said, look, we have to be careful. We do believe in rule of law, but when there is an unjust magistrate who's doing something to oppress people politically, Thomas Jefferson said you not only have the right to oppose that, he said you have the duty. So instead I went to the government, I wrote Congress, and here we are, Sam and I talked to Ed Martin,
Yeah.
and
Urbanization
thanks to
prosecutor.
Sam, in large part, and Vince Haley. So we sat down and said, here's what's happening with the parents. We need an executive order from President Trump to make these parents whole. And we have spent the last month collecting a dossier. We have over 40 parents. We have their stories. I'm going to release today a redacted version. And the stories are unbelievable.
To
You
be
would say,
clear-
how's this the United States?
It's redacted of some of the names to protect the innocent
Right.
because they are still being targeted. And others were absolutely certain they wanted their names out there because they want people to know. For instance, Kelly still has an arrest on his record,
Yep.
and it's a nothing thing because they threw it out,
Right.
but it's still on his record because
Sure.
they're slow walking the rescission, and so there's nothing he can do. But he goes to rent a new place, and they won't rent to him because he has an
Because he's
arrest
got a
on his
record.
record.
Yeah.
So we need not only to make these people whole, we need to uplift parenting again, make parenting great again,
Yeah.
bring back the parent, and make these people whole. And they do need to be made whole.
We had an FBI whistleblower on this show about a year ago. He went through similar things with it. And he said the process was designed to be the punishment. Even if you get exonerated, by the time you're through the process,
Was that
you've
Garrett?
been punished.
Yeah.
What can we all do to support this situation, Sam, to make sure that everything gets right and the 40, 50, 100 other people like Kelly also get made whole?
Right, because it's not just them, right?
That's right.
It's all the other parents who didn't stand up,
That's
who,
right.
who are now too afraid to stand up.
Yeah.
So we need support for the executive order. I think that's really the next order of business. And I would love for President Trump to have a ceremony to honor the parents
Yep.
who took the slings and arrows, who stood in defense of their children, who stood up for defending their kids. And we need more parents like that. We need parents more involved in their schools, not less.
I would imagine 10 years ago, I would never be sitting here today having a conversation like this, that this would have happened on American soil under the color of American government, but it has, and it's happened in hundreds, thousands of locations now. President Trump clearly committed to ending this era, but it's a process, and we're only at the beginning of it. Kelly, for what you went through, I felt terrible, but I know there's going to be a just and righteous end to this. It's the only way it should end.
Yeah, my good friend Matthew Lohmeyer, Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer, you know, he was released from the military for
Right.
writing Irresistible Revolution, and I had a conversation with him, and I said, Matthew, I'm so sorry you lost all that, your retirement and everything. He said, I'm not, because if I kept it, I'm not doing enough for my country. I feel the same way. I chose to stay on this path. I chose to be a target, and now look where we are. We're able to help these parents, and we're looking at President Trump saying, we believe he is going to do the right thing. We believe he cares about American families. And these people are heroes. All of us who stood up, it's not been easy. And instead of being applauded for doing what even animals know to do, protect your own children, they were demonized. They need to be honored, not only vindicated. Andy Ogles had a press conference, Vindication of Parents. It was great. Eli Crane's been supportive, Paul Gosar, a whole lot of others. They need to be honored, and I love Sam's idea of having a ceremony with the president. I think that would be fantastic.
He is the parent in chief.
He is indeed.
And he's proud of it. Sam Adams' brother, John Adams, said, "Liberty once lost is never regained," and I know that's why you jumped into the foxhole. And if you're going to go in a foxhole with someone, having Sam Sorbo in the foxhole, that's who I would take into my foxhole.
I don't know, I'm wearing red.
Yeah, well, we can fix that. What an amazing story. We're going to follow this all the way through to the end. So thank you for letting us see what this was really about.
Thank you so much.
Great honor to have you guys on. All right, folks, what a story. Think about it. We're going to have more Just the News on this. Let's take a quick commercial break. Be right back.